Stop spending $1,200 on golf irons that literally punish your mishits. Seriously, it's the absolute biggest money mistake you can make as a weekend golfer. Today, we're looking at 5 iron sets that all come in under $300 and will actually save your scorecard. Oh, and stick around because later I'm going to show you the one thing most buyers never check when they swing under 85 miles per hour. It costs them strokes every single time.
Look, if you're out there bleeding strokes right now, you can stop the bleeding for under $300. You really don't need to be chasing that buttery forged feel. What you actually need is a club with the right sole, massive offset, and a super low center of gravity. Buying a set that actually fits your swing is going to save you a ton of cash and realistically probably shave 5 strokes off your round.
To prove it, we locked ourselves in the lab for 3 weeks and hit over 600 shots. We tested everything on a GC quad launch monitor with a 7-iron, swinging at exactly 78 miles per hour. Why 78? Well, that speed is exactly where most 15 to 30 handicappers live. We tested driver swing speeds, iron gapping, and wedge spin. Real numbers for real golfers, no fluff.
Before you buy, you need to hear this next part. Forget about workability. As a high handicapper, you need 3 specific things to hit better shots. First up, wide soles. You want the club to glide through the turf instead of digging trenches. Second, massive offset. This is going to help you finally square up that club face. And third, a low, deep center of gravity to actually get the golf ball up in the air. Now, thick, bulky game improvement irons might look pretty ugly to a scratch player, but let me tell you, they are a beautiful thing for your scorecard. Let's look at pure forgiveness. The brand new Tour Edge Hot Launch E53 costs exactly $299 for the whole set, and it is an absolute forgiveness monster. It's rocking a hollow body and a massively wide sole with this Houdini rail on the bottom. We hit a ton of purposeful toe strikes in the lab just to see what would happen. The results? We only lost 8 yards of carry compared to a dead center strike. Just 8 yards. That's insane. But the Tour Edge had some serious competition from the Wilson Launchpad 2, which is also priced at $299. Now, Wilson built this club specifically to fix a slice. They pushed the weighting way out to the toe and gave it a really upright lie angle. While both clubs carried almost identical distances, the Wilson won big on dispersion. Its extreme draw bias literally tightened side-to-side dispersion by 11 feet and put 12 yards of a slice right back into the fairway. The cheaper option is not always worse, but here is the catch. These super game improvement clubs are absolute lifesavers on full swings. They just want to go high and straight every single time you hit them. But they do have a real weakness. When you try to hit a delicate little 40-yard pitch shot, those massive club heads make the ball launch way, way too high. Honestly, they're just hard to control around the greens.
And that brings us to a massive shift in how you should shop. If buying used, this next point matters a lot. You basically have 2 choices right now at the $300 mark: direct-to-consumer new clubs or previous generation used clubs from the big major brands. Honestly, buying 2-year-old premium clubs on the used market is the smartest money move in golf right now, hands down. Take a look at this certified pre-owned set of Callaway Rogue ST Max irons. We bought them for just $279. Think about that. These were $1,000 clubs just 2 years ago. At a 78 mile per hour swing speed, they delivered a massive 148-yard carry. And the feel? It's dramatically better than those budget new options. The urethane microspheres inside mean you actually feel exactly where you hit the face, but without stinging your hands on a cold morning. Then we tested a used set of Ping G425s that we managed to grab for $295. The only number you need to care about right here is 18. That's the total left to right dispersion in feet. 18 feet! I mean, that is tour level tight for a high handicapper club, which easily makes the Ping G425s the absolute straightest irons in our entire test. So who are these used clubs actually for? Well, if you're starting to break 95 and you're actually chipping around the greens instead of just hacking at it, these are your answer. The thinner top lines and the slightly reduced offset on the used Callaway and Ping models make those partial wedge shots so much easier to control. And that means, as you get better, you won't outgrow these clubs in 6 months. They'll actually grow right alongside your game. This is exactly where most golfers waste money. They walk into a big box store, jump on a launch monitor, and immediately buy the iron that goes the furthest. Guys, buying an iron solely based on launch monitor distance is a massive trap. It will cost you strokes on the course because you end up sacrificing literally everything else just to hit a 7-iron 5 yards further. Let's pull back the curtain and look at the real data. Okay, here are the hard numbers for a 7-iron at 78 miles per hour. Notice how the Tour Edge and Wilson give you this massive launch over 18.5 degrees, all with single-digit miss-hit loss. You're only losing about 8 or 9 yards when you miss the center of the face. The used Callaway and Ping, they give you a tighter dispersion and a bit more distance. But now, check out the Takomo 101 at the bottom. Sure, it carried 151 yards. It was definitely the longest club we tested, but there is a massive problem hiding right there in those numbers.
Think about this carry loss on miss hits for a second. The Takomo 101 absolutely punishes you with a 17-yard penalty on a bad strike. Compare that to just 8 yards with the Tour Edge. That 17-yard drop is an absolute round killer for a true high handicapper. If you miss the center 5 times around, those lost yards add up fast. You're going to be finding the water or plugging in the front bunker every single time.
Most buyers skip this and regret it later. If you swing under 80 miles per hour, you desperately need launch and spin. You need the high launch of the Tour Edge or the extra spin of the Ping just to keep the golf ball up in the air. That extra hang time gives you more carry with a slower swing. Seriously, those are free yards. Stop fighting your swing speed and let the club do the heavy lifting.
This next part changes the final answer completely, so no fence sitting here. Here is your final verdict. If you're 20-plus handicap who tends to chunk shots, buy the Tour Edge E53 for $299. It's for sure the most forgiving iron out there. If your only really big miss is a nasty slice, buy the Wilson Launchpad 2. Now, if you're an improving player right between a 14 and 22 handicap who wants a club to last, buy the used Callaway Rogue ST Max or the Ping G425. They're easily the best value in golf. And if you're a true high handicapper over a 20, skip the Takomo 101s. Just save your money. I want to know exactly where your game is at right now. What irons are you currently playing? What's your handicap? And have you ever actually tested them out on a launch monitor? Drop your setup in the comments down below. Hit subscribe so you never waste money on the wrong equipment again. Next time, we're putting a $30 Kirkland ball up against a $55 Pro V1. The wedge spin numbers are literally going to shock you. See you